welcome to another episode of Turn Left. I am your host, Indiana's own Dana Black, coming to you live. Yes, all the way live from Black Pearl Studios, where we talk about Indiana politics from the left side of things. Well, I hope everybody is doing wonderfully this week. There's a lot of nonsense going on in our nation right now, and I know it's hard to keep your head above water. But you know what? This is our country. This is our government. We have the opportunity to make changes. And I ain't gonna lie to y'all. Like, I get a little frustrated, just like everybody else does. I'm human, but I also know that I'm in the movement. And so I'm doing all the things that I should be doing, I think, to have an impact on policy versus allowing policy to have an impact on me with no say. So one of the things that gives me solace as we maneuver through these times is that I know I'm in the trenches. So sometimes that's the best therapy, is to be out here and fighting back. And I saw you guys. I saw y'all all over the state at the No Kings rally. Fortunately, I couldn't join y'all. I was in Colorado doing my Act Blue work. But I love seeing you guys get out and doing your marches. And hopefully you guys will figure out like some follow-up steps that you should be making. Hopefully you are finding some candidates, right? Because you don't want any kings, but you got to show up to the polls. You got to encourage people to get registered to vote. Deadline is in 4 days. Like, you have until April 6th to make sure that you are registered to vote. Also, I would encourage everybody to check your voter registration between now and then, because Diego Morales has given away our voter information to the federal government, and we have no idea what they're doing with it. They may decide to purge on the 5th, because that's how ornery they are. So just make sure you check your voter registration. But this early voting starts on the 7th, right? Early voting is on the 7th. I am excited about the primary race. I love the fact that we have so many contested primaries. Ooh, iron sharpens iron, baby. I love it. I love it. I know a lot of other people don't, but I do. I love it. I think it's great because, you know, people will shine or they won't. And if I interviewed your primary opponent and I didn't get you on, please know that it's not intentional. There's only so many Thursdays. I know I sent out asks from as many people as I could, but listen, I promise you, if you win the primary, I'll hit you up. Okay? I'm trying to get as many Democrats the time that they need to share their story. All right. I have a rant. I always have a rant. Y'all know I got a rant. The Indianapolis Recorder reports a proposed data center in Indianapolis, Martindale Brightwood, is moving into its next phase after the Metropolitan Commission approved a rezoning request for the site at 2505 North Sherman. The project, led by Metro Blocks, would transform a long vacant, roughly 14-acre property formerly home to the Sherman Drive-In Theater into a data center facility. The site has remained largely unused for decades, making redevelopment a key point for city leaders and developers. Indianapolis City County Councilman Ron Gibson, who represents District 8, expressed support for the commission's decision in a statement following the approval. The commission's role is to evaluate projects based on land use standards, and it's important that every project is reviewed fairly and consistently. This project met those standards, and I support the commission's decision to approve the rezoning for Metro Blocks project. The development has been framed by supporters and an economic opportunity. According to Gibson, the project already includes $2.5 million commitment to the Martindale Brightwood community, with estimates suggesting at least $20 million in additional revenue. Metro Blocks has the potential to bring significant investment, create jobs, and generate long-term tax revenue that supports infrastructure. State Representative Greg Porter, who spoke at the April 1st Commission meeting on behalf of residents, because Ron Gibson didn't speak on behalf of residents, sharply criticized the decision. He said, "This is a slap in the face to the Martindale Brightwood community. They did what they're supposed to do, contacted their local officials, protested, and spoke in one voice. Residents worked diligently to add a quality of life plan to the proposal, but they were ignored. Profits cannot come before people. Economic development shouldn't come at the expense of working families' well-being. Big tech oligarchs shouldn't be the ones rapidly reshaping our local community. Despite opposition, city officials note the property's long history of disuse as a driving factor. So I hear the fact that Ron Gibson keeps saying that, there wasn't any use. But bro, you were the city councilor. You were supposed to find use for it. And you were also supposed to listen to your constituents. I know that I was a part of a protest. I have been to a few meetings. I obviously couldn't be as involved as I would like to. Oh, yes, this is my district, right? I couldn't be involved as much as I wanted to, but I tried to offer what I could to explain data centers to the leaders of the Martindale-Brightwood community. I feel like Ron Gibson forgot that this is a representative government and you are supposed to represent the people who elected you. But Ron Gibson is also a prime example of what happens when you don't have primary opponents. Ron Gibson ran completely unopposed. I think he ran unopposed. I believe he ran unopposed during this last primary. And then he ran unopposed in the general. Obviously, Republicans ain't putting nobody up in District 8 because ain't no Republicans over here. And if they are, they silent. But Ron Gibson failed. Now, you guys know I don't typically badmouth my Democratic members of my party. I'm not going to badmouth Ron Gibson. I am sharply going to criticize his decision to support something that our community basically said we do not want. You failed, bro. Your decision making on this was awful. You were supposed to represent us. And if you're not going to listen to us, then who do we have fighting for our community? You failed us, bro. And I said it. Y'all make sure you pass it along. Y'all know I don't talk about people. I talk about policies. And in this case, Ron Gibson's decision, his policy-making decision was the wrong decision for our community, especially when we didn't want it. Yes, this is personal. But at the same time, I saw all the hard work, the people who were organizing and making sure our voices were heard. So if you weren't able to participate fully, there was a whole group of people that were out here advocating for what we want in that community. Now, everybody keeps talking about it was vacant. How many more TIF districts did they have in the city and overlook the Martindale-Brightwood area? You know what? That land was contaminated. That's why nobody wanted to invest in it. Well, see, it's still contaminated. So what happens to that contaminated soil when that soil gets turned over? And what happens to the community members when they have to breathe that crap in? I ain't heard no plan on how they plan on restoring the ground. To all the people who worked tirelessly, I salute you and I applaud you. But you know what? This ain't the end. There will be an election next year. District 8 will be on the ballot in 2027. If you are thinking about running for office, run. I just know that Ron Gibson ought to be happy I can't run, because I would give him a run for his money. I know I would, but I can't because I have a job that I love and I ain't trying to give it up. But if you are thinking about running, and I usually stay real silent in primaries, but in this case, it's about my community and where I live. So I will stay silent in the primary, but I am also going to encourage people who believe that Martindale-Brightwood deserves better than what they got in this particular situation to put your name on the ballot. All right, that's part of my rant. I just had to get that out. AP News reports the Supreme Court is casting doubt on President Donald Trump's bid to restrict birthright citizenship for children born to parents who are in the United States illegally or temporarily aren't American citizens. The consequential case was magnified by Trump's unprecedented presence in the courtroom for the duration of his lawyer's argument. A definitive ruling by the Supreme Court is expected early summer. Usually they come out with that stuff in June and July. Arguing on behalf of Trump's administration, Solicitor General John Sauer faced skepticism from conservative and liberal justices alike. Lawyer Cecilia Wang found notable less resistance in her defense of birthright citizenship. The birthright citizenship order, which Trump signed on January 20, 2025, the first day of his second term, is part of his Republican administration's broad immigration crackdown. Every lower court that has considered the issue has found the order illegal and prevented it from taking effect. Y'all, I don't even understand how people who are married immigrants and had children by immigrants are all of a sudden not wanting birthright citizenship. Oh, wait. No, yes, I do. Yes, I do. My bad. It's them brown and black people who are immigrants that they don't want, because you see, they welcome the South Africans with open arms, the white South Africans with open arms. I mean, Marco Rubio, I don't even understand how you could be down with this. You are an American citizen because of the 14th Amendment and birthright citizenship. Your ass was born in 1971 and your parents didn't become citizens until 75. Hypocrite. You wouldn't even be able to do the things that you do had it not been for the 14th Amendment. J.D. Vance, you got a whole brown wife and brown kids. Something wrong with y'all. You hate yourself? I don't know what it is. But here's the deal. The 14th Amendment has been put in place for over 150 years. Y'all need to just get over yourselves. And the idea that the Orange Menace believes that he can just stroke his pen with that gaudy ass signature and think he can change the Constitution? Nah, bro, we not finna have that. Even your homies that you put on the Supreme Court were like, that's not making any sense. But, you know, him and Stephen Miller are trying to reshape America in their own white, pale ass image and pretend like black and brown people have not been contributors to the greatness of this nation. Like we haven't contributed anything. Or are y'all just mad because we don't cower at your presence anymore? And I know that the Orange Menace probably lost his mind watching Justice Ketanji Brown give him the business. A black woman? Smarter than him? He probably couldn't handle that. But it's all good. It's all good. But now, this court, ain't no telling, because they just voted to say it was okay for it was not okay for states to ban conversion therapy, because we know how harmful that is. So Colorado had banned conversion therapy on LGBTQ plus youth, right? And the court was like, no, you can't do that. You can't ban that. Ketanji Brown was the only one. Justice Ketanji Brown was the only one that dissented on that one. I don't understand, but okay. I guess the argument basically said you can't preemptively say there's going to be harm. You can only do something after the harm is done. Huh? So you're going to damage the kid when you know you could have prevented the damage? Does that even make sense? But hey, this is what's happening. That court is crazy. But birthright citizenship, come on. We got to find something else better to do, especially when Fox 59 reports as the United States ticks past an average of $4 per gallon at the pump for the first time since 2022, Hoosiers should brace for a slight increase in price beginning in April. The Indiana Department of Revenue recently published the gasoline use tax rate for April. The new rate increases the state's tax on gasoline to 17.2 cents per gallon. This is a roughly 2-cent jump from March's rate of 15.3 cents per gallon. The statewide gas use tax is readjusted each month and is based on the average retail price of gasoline. This means Hoosiers should expect a further increase in the tax in May, as the average retail price of gasoline has leapt up to roughly $4 a gallon. The April gas tax use calculation drew from a range from February 16th to March 15th to determine a $2.45 per gallon average retail price for gasoline. But the range still includes gas prices from before the U.S. and Israeli war, which is going to drive prices up even more. So, you know, what I've been finding interesting is I've been watching, Republican candidates for State House talk about how, the cost of living is high and energy costs are high and gas prices are high. And they're the Republican that's going to solve it. And I want to understand how a member of the party that created the situation that we find ourselves in is actually going to solve it. Republicans been in charge for over 20 years. The situation we find ourselves in is because of Republican policies. So I want y'all to think about that when you go to the polls in November. And these gaslighting ass Republicans get to talking about, well, I can fix the energy crisis. You helped create the crisis. So I don't believe you. And nor should you as a voter. You should not be believing these people because they own some mess. Now, there is a little bit of good news out here. CNN reports President Orange has fired Pam Bondi as Attorney General. No. I can't even believe that Donald Trump would take somebody who supports his dirty draws and get rid of him. Well, that's kind of what he does all the time anyway, ain't it? I ain't sad that Pam Bondi's gone, but he replaced her with another white dude, Todd Blanche. I believe, what Noon's gone, which she was terrible too. Pam Bondi's gone, she was terrible. But you know what? It don't matter. They going from the frying pan into the fire. None of these people are about the right, or the correct, I should say, because they about the right. They're not about our lives. They're not trying to do anything to improve how we live every day. If they were, they would address the energy price, the energy issue. They wouldn't be going into Iran trying to bomb them people to oblivion, especially when they said, we're not going into any more forever wars. People, we are at crisis level. And I know that some of y'all are still having the debates about what type of Democrat we should have. At this point, I don't even understand that argument. I don't. Because I know that if we have a Democrat that wins the general election, we're going to rock at least 65 to 75% of the time. That's all I need. I don't need a perfect candidate. I just need somebody that's going to at least find common ground and good policies. I'm not talking about them turncoats that say they Dems, but then vote against all Dem policies. I'm not talking about them. I'm talking about those that I may have one or two disagreements with. Because see, as an African-American lesbian in America, ain't none of y'all really rocking with me 100%. So I gotta choose the lesser two evils anyway. But my point to you is find a Democrat, support them, help them, because we gotta right this ship before it's way too late. And we're real close to the cliff. We're real close. If you don't think we are, you got your head buried way in the sand. Talk to a friend. If those of you who are aware of what's going on and know what's happening, talk to a friend. Get them engaged. Find a candidate to help. Because honest to God, we in a heck of a mess right now. We in such a mess right now, I done said a few curse words and I never curse. My bad. All right, y'all, that's my rant. Democrats, are you looking for an affordable digital content creation solution? Then look no further than Black Pearl IT Solutions and Black Pearl Studios. Indiana's own Dana Black is providing many of the communication wraparound services any Democratic organization needs. No matter the size of the budget, Indiana's own and Black Pearl Studios have you covered. Just scan the QR code or visit www.blackpearl-its.com. All right. The best part of the show is always when I get to talk to candidates. I got to make an adjustment because y'all moved around on me. So I got to make a little bit of an adjustment. Hold, please. Do not. All right. I made it. It's done. So the best part of the show is that we are bringing you the candidates that are running for office. There's so much noise at the top of the ticket. Sometimes you're not aware of who's running for your state house. And tonight I have two more candidates, and I've been lucky. I don't do it on purpose. Sometimes I just reach out and I just try to schedule them as quickly as I possibly can. But for the last 2 weeks, I've been able to have a candidate that's running in the Senate and one that's running in the House. And I'm really, really excited about that. So first up, I have Gabrianna. Oh, gosh, I'm messing all the way up. I'm gonna do this right. Hold, please, because I'm not completely batty, but I am a little tired today, and I ain't gonna lie. I have Gabrianna Gratzol. Did I get that right? Gratzol. Okay. Hartman, who's running in Senate District 11. And then I've got a good friend, someone who has been around for a while and has been doing the work, not just for himself, but his wife, my good friend, Michael Potter, who's running in House District 47. How y'all doing today?
Great.
You're doing great. Thanks for having us.
I love it. I love it. So, guys, was there anything in my rant that you wanted to comment on? This is where y'all talk.
Man, the gas tax is one that I'm already hearing about everywhere I go. We had a candidate forum last night for House District 48. There's a contested primary there. And even the moderator had to jump in and be like, hey, this gas tax is insane. And it prompted me to do some research. And I feel like every time I dig into any kind of Indiana policy, especially around like fiscal or tax, it is just mind-numbing and frustrating because the first thing they love to do is brag about their surplus, brag about their fiscal responsibility. But what is the point of having a surplus if we, the taxpayers, aren't getting anything from it and we're constantly the ones being pressed when things get tough?
I know that's right, because they call it a rainy day, but it seems like it's pouring like a mug right now. Michael, did you want to say anything about my rant?
Oh, how long do we have here?
We got as long as we want. This is my studio.
All right. Well, I'll start with the day. Well, I'll go with the gas tax, and I know something I've benefited from. I've been an environmental consultant for 25 years. And I started my career working on primarily gas stations. And Indiana has a fund that helps clean up old gas stations or current gas stations. And part of that comes from our gas tax. Now, I was trying to get, I don't know what our percentage is, but it's like 1% or 0.1%. It's a tiny amount. But that is one benefit. It goes into our environment, and that gets out of the legislature's hands quickly and into that trust fund. So that's one good piece, but it's getting a little out of control. And obviously that, what are we going up to? 79 cents?
It was 17 cents. Oh, you mean in totality?
In totality.
Yeah.
For the, I saw it was going up. Anyway, gas prices are going up. With or without the tax.
Exactly.
And that's not pleasant. Matter of fact, I just had a car breakdown a couple months ago. Finally ended up with a car, and I wanted to have a third row. We have a young child, and I went through two children with a small car. It's nice to have a bigger car, so now I got the bigger car, and gas prices are going through the roof.
Yeah.
$91 into my tank. At the grocery store gas station, and then into the grocery store for $280 worth of groceries.
Oh my God.
That was a rough day.
Yeah. Wow.
To say the least. Anyway, so that's the gas tax and affordability. We'll probably talk elsewhere about affordability. That's a platform issue for many of the Democrats across Indiana.
Absolutely.
And I support the last session, our Democrats that were in-house last session trying to pick away any penny they could for the citizens of Indiana, and the Republicans shot them down every time, even for pennies. We just want some pennies coming back to us, and the Republicans said, no, we want your pennies before they go out of style.
Yeah. You know what? This state house is special, and every time after every session, I want to go up to our elected Democrats and give them a hug and maybe ask them, do they want me to help them find a referral for a good therapist? Or so how can I, because the things that they have to sit and listen to, the nonsensicalness, like I'm struggling right now with the fact that like Senator Liz Brown is being endorsed by the pedo guy, the guy that was on the Epstein Island. Like, she's running around bragging about that. She's running around bragging that she, as a female, as a woman, that she is being endorsed by a man who says he don't mind sexually assaulting women. Like, what is this bizarro world that we're living in? So I don't know. Hopefully,
hey, Dana, careful. One of the things I wrote down is, we love our Dems, right? The thing I've been talking about a lot on the campaign trail, though, is as Dems, we got to be strong. We got to stand up and let everyone know we're not going to flip once they elect us. We're not lying to them. All right. And so you're talking about supporting in an endorsement from somebody on the Epstein files. We have folks in the party getting money, big money, like real thousands of dollars.
That's slick, bro.
From
I like
people
how
on
you
the
did that. I
file.
like how you did that. I like how you did that. That's slick.
I mean, hey, we're just talking here, right?
Yeah, that's slick. That's slick. All right,
So-
let's get into it. Gabrianna, tell the people who you are and where you come from.
All right, I'm Gabrianna Gratzol. I'm running for Senate District 11. That covers the northern portion of Elkhart County and most of the northern portion of St. Joseph County. It is cut just so strategically to keep me out of the downtown areas, the more blue areas. But what they don't account for is the fact that people are not blind to what is happening on a national scale, and the actions of the Orange Menace have kind of brought some people to the table who previously have sat back because they did not have faith in either side. And they're realizing that if you don't pick a side, you're going to get swept away in all this.
Yeah.
And it is from a city level, township level, all the way to a congressional level. We are seeing people get engaged who have previously had no interest in politics. And because they're starting to see the impact that it has on their day-to-day life. And luckily we have people who have been doing this work, who have been in this fight for decades, who knew before it had to affect them that these things impact all of us, who are there to shepherd them in instead of gatekeeping. And I mean, that's partly how I got here. Our local activists back in.
So tell me about your upbringing a little bit. You did you grow up in Indiana?
Yeah, I grew up in Elkhart. I actually, my family, we have a house, I don't know, like 5 minutes from the house that I grew up in. I have always lived in Elkhart. I started school in the Elkhart public school systems. I was in advanced placement and benefited greatly from those programs, had some amazing public school teachers. And then sixth grade going into seventh grade, instead of going to middle school, my parents pulled me for homeschooling because at that time they were concerned about the quality of our public school system. They were concerned about the corrupting influence because we really got into some Christian nationalism in my family. And they both worked full time. So I was given curriculum that was biblically based. At the top of all my lesson plans was a Bible verse guiding the curriculum for that particular lesson. And they both went to work and I was left to figure it out on my own. And had it not been for the foundation laid by the amazing public school teachers that I had, I wouldn't have made it. I wouldn't be where I am now. So that's why, like, I've seen success stories with homeschooling. I've seen success stories with private schooling, alternative school routes, but having the option and like the community that comes with public school and like giving everybody the tools that they need to succeed is something that it's under attack in our community. And it is something that I really want to take to the State House to fight.
So let me ask you this. Okay, so you're saying that you were being homeschooled, but your parents were working all day and you were pretty much teaching yourself. How are you able to, one, have I mean, I know you said you had the foundation of those public schools, but how did you manage as a young person? Because young people, they're typically, not everybody, but typically are undisciplined. How did you manage to stay disciplined to get the work done? And then also, how, as you look back on it, have you talked to your parents about why they did what they did? I mean, as far as not necessarily saying I'm going to homeschool you, but not even be home while they homeschooling you.
Yeah, so I'm glad you asked. That's a complicated question. So let's just take it one at a time.
Okay.
The discipline, ultimately, it came down to what I was interested in. When it came to certain subjects, I was very motivated to learn. I loved English. I loved history. I loved science. Math was a serious struggle for me. Like the higher classes, like I have a good foundational knowledge of it. I've been able to operate without impediment in my adult life. But it ultimately came down to what I was motivated to learn. I'm very much, I don't know, I'm very passionate about things and very driven in areas I'm passionate about. But at the end of the day, like I did not have some innate like discipline to make it through junior high and high school. Because this was up till graduation. Like I have an accredited degree, but I remember because my sister's 4 years younger than me. She had a completely different experience. She did like maybe a year or two of homeschooling where we overlapped. Then for high school, she went to high school in our public school system. She graduated with almost an associate's degree.
Wow.
She went on to college, and she is now a college graduate and an assistant curator at one of the museums and works in a second museum in Elkhart in our community. I remember there was one year that I was driving her down to Indy. She went to UIndy. I was driving her down to Indianapolis for move-in, and I had made some offhanded comment about how, like, I don't know, maybe about dinosaurs and people being alive at the same time, or something about like, we don't know how the pyramids were built, just something in that vein. And I remember her turning and looking at me like I was so stupid. And like just feeling that shame for not knowing something that I was just never taught. And like, I've had these conversations with my parents now, like both my parents, no one in my family is like subscribing to Christian nationalist beliefs anymore. We've all moved forward. I think it's a spectrum, but we've all gotten to different places on the progressive side of politics, humanity, belief systems. I have good relationships with all the members of my family now. But we have had those conversations, and I've gotten apologies. Like they've been like, we're sorry. We understand like the negative effect that this had. And just the expectations that they had for me were both too high and too low, because the idea was if I went to public school, like I would end up pregnant or I would end up like on drugs or whatever. And I'm like, that's crazy, because as soon as I got freedom, I went to work. I was disciplined. I moved out very quickly. Like I've never had any issues with drugs, alcohol, criminal history. Like I have always managed myself well. And so with that came like, oh, we should have done it a different way. And like, they understand they can't go back and do it differently now, but I don't know, the damage is done and the struggles have been overcome. But I think my driving like reason to even be here is to make sure that other kids don't have to overcome these huge obstacles and don't get lost in this, because some of this I lucked out on.
Yeah.
Truly.
Yeah. That's an amazing story. Gosh, I have so many more questions, but I still have another amazing guest. I got to bring him in.
Yeah.
Michael, tell the people who you are and where you come from.
Hey, I'm Michael Potter. I live in Johnson County in the wonderful little town of Bargersville. And I grew up here. I went to Center Grove High School, and then went to Butler and then IUPUI, got a degree in geology from IU, portion of the IUPUI, or IU Indy now. Did a little grad school at the University of Southern California, which who would ever thought is now part of the Big Ten, and their football team will be here in Bloomington, and IU will be favored next season.
Can you imagine?
No, I cannot. I never imagined going to USC in the first place. And I definitely didn't imagine when I was sitting at those games at USC with Reggie Bush and Matt Leinart and
so you dating us, bro. We listen, don't tell them. And look, those kids are like 10 years younger than me. I'm like, bro, you dating me.
I'm proud to be old.
Man, because we made it. Ooh.
51. You know, Gabrianna talks about, kind of lucking out. I also, you can be in public school and luck out too. I had great friends. I had great, their parents were great. My mom was amazing, single mom, 3 kids, in band and sports. I don't know how she did it. I have no idea. There had to be a clone mom somewhere, to get us to all the things. Absolutely amazing. And I made my way back to Indiana from USC, got to work in the environmental consulting business, like I mentioned a little bit earlier. Worked on a lot of gas stations, cleaning them up from all the old tanks and old piping, which makes me a little weird because if I'm at a gas station and the pump handle's leaking or I see something on the ground, I'll go inside and be like, I'm not here to rat you out, but your pump's leaking and you may want to get it fixed.
You probably noticed things at the pump.
It's okay. I'm like, no, like I kind of work in the industry. Yeah. It needs to be fixed.
Yeah.
And like, I'm not trying to get work. Matter of fact, I won't ever come here, like ask you about it again. Like, I'm not trying to get work out of this, but you need to get your pump handle fixed because it's dripping fuel on the ground. So, yeah.
So one of the things that I've noticed about people who are kind of scientists, like you said, you study geology. That's a sciencey thing.
You said geology, right? Not theology.
No, not theology. Geology. Yeah, geology, I'm sorry. Right. I ain't gonna lie to y'all. I've been talking like nonstop for 8 hours a day, so I'm a little worn out. But that being said, I am.
It was fine. I just wanted to make sure. I have my speakers a little low too.
That's the studying of the rocks and stuff, right?
Yep.
Okay. All right. I want to make sure. So sciencey people see politics a little different. Tell us how you actually, what is your approach to politics? Because, when you're a science, you have a process for things. So how do you view politics, and tell us why you actually decided to run for office? Yeah, well,
it was kind of the science that in the LEAP district. So as the LEAP district is being developed, and I started hearing politicians talk about the water availability in Indiana, they weren't talking correctly about it at all. And we're still seeing it with the data centers. I didn't write it down, but you said something. No, I don't have it. About the Martindale Brightwood data center. And I'm like, yep, that's why I got involved. So that one's on contaminated land, and we'll talk about that. A brownfield.
Yeah.
Should be in good hands. It is a registered brownfield, which means the city knows about it. There's probably a consultant already assigned to it. That should be the least of our worries when it comes to that data center. Anyway, so yeah, they were talking about, if there's water in Lake Michigan, then we have plenty of water in Indiana. It doesn't work that way, guys. Sorry. And then down here in Bargersville, I started when we moved here 5 years ago. I've kind of always lived in central Indiana, and I did go to school in this district that I sit in now. But I've moved away and then came back. But I noticed on our little local chat boards that people's drinking water wells for their homes, people kept posting on Nextdoor, or, our local Facebook chat group, my well went dry. Who do you use to get some drink, potable water to store on your house or on your property or whatever? I'm like, what is going on? This is where it's nice to be a geologist and do this kind of stuff. So I knew right where to look to figure out why, where their wells are located, how deep they are, what the geology is. So I go and look it up. I go, they're not really even tapped into an aquifer. They're tapped into about 3 inches of sand down about 30 feet that doesn't hold a lot of water. And obviously, Bargersville was, hardly any homes. It was less than 5,000, less than 3,000 people. This kind of last couple of years, they've gone, I think we're over 10.
Wow.
And now we've had to break our town council into districts to make sure that distribution is right. That's how big the town's gotten. So you're having, most of that is obviously city water, but many houses still around the periphery are on wells. And only so many people can tap that 3 inches of sand with water in it to get water out of it before it goes dry. Add to it, a little bit of climate complexity right now, and then the building of more roads and hard surfaces that doesn't let water penetrate in, and all that adds together to people's wells going dry.
Wow. So I want to tap back to that LEAP district conversation. Because that one is still an ongoing issue, because now they're talking about taking water from Eagle Creek and sending it up to Lebanon. From your perspective as a geologist and someone who understands environmental impact on things, I'm a talker. I don't know those things, right? Help us understand what the issues are with the LEAP project, and why, and if why was there some type of water understanding of the water resources in the area before they started it? Like this thing people have been talking about this for 4 years now on my show. So I know it's probably been going on longer than that.
Yeah. So as part of LEAP, it was ordered that we needed to have a water study for the whole state. That had been done. Sorry, my geologist friends, I don't remember the date of our water atlas, 81 or 70, 81.
Oh gosh, that's a long time ago.
A long time. I mean, we have this like Water of Indiana atlas. It's kind of a base reference we do, and anytime I go research a site and have to reference the watershed that particular property is located in. So I would say I flipped through it. When I started working, I did flip through it. Now I have it digitally on my computer, and I scroll through it. So that had been done and had not been updated, and certainly not at the resolution. The initial one was kind of done at the resolution of like major farms, county, township scale. But now we're building at a much closer, houses are much closer, and all these rural communities are getting so many more homes that we need better resolution on that water. And, data centers weren't a thing in the 80s.
Well, AI data centers. Yeah, AI data centers, because they're being data
AI
centers.
And hyper
those super hot processors.
Yeah, I actually I talked to someone not too long ago that's been working at a data center for a communication company his whole career, so that went back into the 70s. That was just a little, you wouldn't even know it. It looked like an office complex or
but see, those data centers were different, because when I finished my graduate degree, and one of my dreams was to have my own data center, but the only thing you needed was a building with fiber underneath it and a climate control system. The processors weren't running at the same heat levels that they are now, that they needed water to cool them off, right? Right.
Oh yeah.
So it's just these data centers are very different. I just find it interesting. Like they decided to build this LEAP project in a place where there wasn't any water, or they were just going to, and it seems to be a theme. We're just going to take water from the people who need to drink it. Yeah.
And the thing is, I could go on to all kinds of things with it. But the thing is, we're just giving away the state.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And it even comes in with some of this kerfuffle that went on within the party about is the party endorsing data centers or not, is that we don't want to give stuff away. Data centers can be built without chugging water.
Mm-hmm.
They can be built without chugging energy.
Mm-hmm.
But
we shouldn't be subsidizing their energy needs.
They just want to build it, like they just want to throw it all together as fast as they can without thought and without design. They just want to get it in and do the Elon Musk, just like they're doing the stress test on our environment and our communities. And it's like, you can stress test a computer all you want. I don't care. Break it, melt it, do whatever you want. When you start doing stress tests on people's lives, that's a problem.
Yeah, yeah. And you brought up the kerfuffle about the party. Rest assured, there was no vote on data centers. That was, I don't know where that came from, but that didn't happen. And I think sometimes we have to be very careful. Sometimes we're so quick to jump to conclusions without all the facts. So we got to do better, y'all. Ain't no sense of fighting each other when we got these clowns over here trying to get rid of birthright citizenship. And
my thumb initially took off on that, but then I called myself and was like, I want to see the transcript of what went on. That was my initial comment to what I think was maybe. You know what I did?
I literally looked to my right to where my girlfriend was sitting, who is the 9th District Vice Chair. And I said, did this happen? And she said, no, that's all I needed to hear. Yeah. I didn't need it. She's like, no, that didn't happen. Right.
But what scared me was that we were, by saying we did, we went in, that we're giving away the shop.
Yeah.
And we need to fight this until we understand what the investments are. They're like, we're investing $20 million in the community. Yeah. No, you're not. No, you're investing $20 million into your building, right?
Yeah.
Not into our community. Matter of fact, I bet they fight the community when they want to tap into that fiber line, or they want to tap into a water line that's coming in there, or something like that, right?
They want us to subsidize their resource needs. These people are making billions of dollars and they want us to subsidize. In fact, Gabrianna, they have there was a Michigan City data center that has gone around. I know you're over in Elkhart, not in LaPorte, but that's kind of up in your neck of the woods. We're down here in central Indiana. What are you hearing about what that Michigan City data center is doing up there? Or have you heard anything? You may not have.
So the main talk around data centers in my area, we have a huge issue out in Bristol. It is a kind of smaller, more urban community. A lot of manufacturing and industry over in Bristol. But residentially, it's very, very rural, and people are very protective of their space there because they're like, I chose this place because of my surroundings, and their town council just sold them out. They organized the whole community in a very bipartisan, nonpartisan way. They were at town hall after town hall meeting, and their town sold them out, and they are very upset. There's an organized effort going on in Granger. Okay. Am I there?
Yeah, you're here.
Okay. There's St. Joe County. It's from end to end of my district, communities and citizens are saying no to data centers, and they want to hear, it's one of the first questions that they're asking as soon as people announce candidacy is, what is your position on data centers? And their concerns are these same ones. Like, I've never seen a better informed electorate. They know the talking points, they know the issues, and they want to know what candidates know. They want to know that we are paying attention to water usage, utility rates, pollution, and noise pollution is a big one. Air pollution is another big one. They want to know that their representatives are listening and prioritizing protecting them instead of handing out tax abatements
Oh
and
my God.
annexing their farmland. Like that's what just happened in Bristol. We just had a plot of farmland get annexed for I don't think it's been officially it's a done deal, the data center. But I think the initial vote was on the annexation, but it is on the forefront of everybody's minds. And the main the voices that I'm hearing that are in support of constructing these data centers are organized labor.
Mm-hmm.
And I hear the concerns, because there was one in St. Joe County that there's a contract, and it did provide years of good union jobs. Union members were benefited from that contract. I understand that. But that is a short-term gain.
Mm-hmm.
We need to be taking actions to support our unions, which we all know how our state house, both the Senate and the House, have treated unions.
Mm-hmm.
We know how they've been taking their power. We know how labor is not a priority. In fact, I have had a few business owners say to me, and like some people who are incredibly successful, say to me, they don't support unions because they know that when unions are around, everybody's wages go up, and they don't want to pay
yes.
it. And I'm like, you just said the quiet part out loud. Like
but it's not even a quiet part. We all know it, right?
Oh, yeah,
I mean, if it wasn't a way to benefit them, they don't want it. So it's benefiting the worker. That's why in the NIPSCO people on strike right now, you know, the governor had to sit with them, which like he really gives a mess. Like he don't care.
Yeah.
You know what, y'all? One of the things I'm liking about this conversation is that we are able to really tap into not just the talking points, but how your communities are feeling about these things. So when you decided to run for office, there's a few items that motivate you. And I know, like Michael said, as a geologist, it was the LEAP district. But Gabrianna, tell the people, you know, what the issue was that got you to put your name on the ballot, and then follow up with the 3 talking points that you're using to reach out to your community to earn those votes.
So I think, like I said, I'm a very passionate person. I mean, the very first thing that got me out of my house and off of my phone and just commenting and reposting was Roe being overturned. That I think that for me signified, you know, I had grown complacent. The Orange Menace was gone. I was like, okay, you know, things are moving back in a direction that I feel safer with. You know, I don't see my marginalized friends being attacked anymore. But then when that came down and I realized the long lasting effects of complacency, I started to get more involved. And then I think as far as putting my name on the ballot, I started watching legislative sessions after.
You got to be careful with those.
Oh my God.
You got to be careful.
I know.
No, but y'all gonna be in the state house, so y'all might as well start getting y'all's resistance up, because this.
No. Yeah, and I think post 2024 election results, I was looking for where I could help.
Mm-hmm.
When I feel powerless and I feel scared and I feel overwhelmed, I have to move to action to manage those emotions. If not, I just get stuck, and it's paralyzing.
Mm-hmm.
And so for me, it was I started going to protests, started speaking at protests, getting involved in the county party. And it just, my constant ask for myself was, what can I do? And it just, okay, what is going to be on the ballot that I can fill a spot in? And then the longer I looked, the more I was like, I'm not just looking to be a name on a ballot. I started watching the legislative sessions and listening to these arguments being made between legislators and hearing the very few Democrats that we had
Right.
being the only ones speaking for their neighbors.
Mm-hmm.
And all I kept thinking was like, if we had more, then they would have more power and they wouldn't be able to silence them. And also, one of the biggest things was watching these people who traveled to the state house to testify, to give public comment, and watching these Republican legislators, nod and pretend to be empathetic and be like, yeah, we hear you, we understand, but then completely disregarding the area that they have expertise in. I had to be in the room.
I feel that.
I had to somehow get into the room and change the way they are doing business.
Right.
And
that's
kind of what led me to be here.
Love that. I love that.
Yeah.
It almost sounds like you've been over here listening to me tell these people to get engaged, stop asking what somebody else didn't do. What did I do? And doggone it, I can do it too. I love it. I love it. So what are those issues?
So my big three are public education,
okay.
Affordability, and that's such an all-encompassing issue. And then workers' protections.
Ooh.
Both, organized labor. Obviously, that starts with supporting organized labor, because we know when organized labor is supported, they raise the standard for everybody.
Everybody, come on.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, but even then, I don't think you should have to be in a union to have basic workers' protections.
Right.
And when you tie things like healthcare, things like your ability to feed your kids, things like your ability to keep a roof over your head to your job, then that job should be protected from indiscriminate termination. Because it's when you cut off someone's health care because they lose a job, that can be life or death. And the stakes are too high for it to be so fickle.
I love that. Same question to you, Michael. What was, I know you said Leap Center, but what were the things that got you to put your name on the ballot? This is not your first time running for office. That's the thing. And I got to applaud you on that, because, I am one of those one and done people, right? I ran for office once, I'm gone. I had the experience, but then it didn't work out, and it's a lot of hard work, right? Running for office is not easy. So what, you came back. So I'm going to change it up a little bit. Since you told us, it was the LEAP project that got you involved. What got you to run a second race, and what are your three areas of focus?
Dana Black, you're one of the reasons that I'm running again. People with passion like you, Jennifer McCormick, Destiny Wells, Blythe Potter, my beautiful, wonderful wife.
Full disclosure, I am crazy about Blythe Potter. I don't know if people know that. I am crazy about her. Me and Nicole talk about her all the time. Okay, enough of your wife. Back to you.
Anyway, and if she's Secretary of State or whatever, she's doing great things for the party and for our community. So there's a lot of good things to come there. Anyway, she broke out on her own through the GI Bill. She still had money to spend on her education. So she really wanted to up her education, or she wanted to finish her bachelor's. She actually didn't finish. She went in the military, went overseas, came back, got back to work. So she finished her undergrad, still had money, wanted to get a graduate degree, ended up deciding on an MBA, got her MBA in conscious capitalism. And again, that's capitalism that benefits not just the shareholders, but also the community. We're not just going to rake in all the dollars we can, but how can we reinvest that in the community or provide services that are a benefit to the community?
But back to you.
But back to me. I'm getting there. There's a little bit of a story. I know, folks. Just keep listening.
Yes, keep listening to Turn Left, always.
Yeah. And then she got involved in all these leadership things, like Leadership Johnson County, where she met the chair for the Johnson County Democratic Party, who roped her in to a vacant seat. And we saw how effective we could be being involved in politics, even as a candidate. We live in a very red farm community, and she just jumped in as a Democrat. I don't even know when the last time a Democrat ran in Bargersville. So I don't know if any of them ever won for the town council. But during COVID, we're walking around with our new baby, and there's sidewalks that go nowhere. There's what should be crosswalks with no crosswalk marking, and no signs for cars to slow down. Folks in Indiana, especially rural Indiana, don't understand that pedestrians have the right of way in almost any
really
case. They don't understand. No,
they really don't.
Especially after living in California, where if you're on the corner, I didn't really have a phone back when I lived there. It was kind of pre-cell phone, but if you're standing too close to the road and you're not paying attention, like you're not planning on walking, but it kind of looks like you might, people will stop and wait for you. You're like, no, I'm not walking. I just keep going. Like that's how it should be. Like pedestrians have the right of way. And so there are little things like that just in our little local community that is like, we need better sidewalks. We need better infrastructure, all that sort of stuff. And so she ran, and she didn't win, but a lot of the things that she had proposed were starting to get implemented and become part of her opponent's platforms.
Okay.
So all great stuff there. And I was like, okay, I'm in. I had heard the first fundraiser dinner I went to in Johnson County was Jennifer McCormick came to speak. Very passionate, great ideas. And I was like, I got to do something. I can't hang out with all y'all and just sit on the sidelines. And so where am I going to fit in? And our House seat was running unopposed, as well as our Senate seat, which was Rod Beret. And so they're like, you're going to have a hard enough time. You're new to politics. It's a very red district. You may not want to go against the leader of the Senate.
Right. The pro tem.
Why don't we go for House District 47? And then I don't know if folks are watching this. I know podcast wise, you're probably listening, but I'm holding up my sticker in my district. I saw that shape. I was like
the duck.
House District 47 looks like a duck.
It looks like a duck.
I'm in. I'm going to play with the duck. We're going to hand out ducks. I'm going to walk around with a duck. And man, during gerrymandering fight, that was great. Like people always, why are you wearing a duck? Well, here's a great example of gerrymandering. And you can also use the looks like a duck, quacks like a duck. It's a duck.
It's a duck.
Looks like gerrymandering is gerrymandering. So, I just wanted to help out any way I can, any way I could. And I mean, that first time, and I recommend it to anybody that's thinking about politics, get involved and get that first time done, because it's pretty difficult. It's difficult the second time,
right?
But it's exponentially easier than it was the first time. And after I signed up to run, one of the first things I did, because our daughters are friends, is I went up to see an event that Tiffany Stoner was doing.
Yeah, I love her.
Talk about a slap in the face. I was like, holy cow, she's talking for 30 minutes. No notes, t-shirts ready, hats ready. And it was like February or something, March. And I'm like, I just signed up like 2 weeks ago and she's already got all this together. I didn't realize it was fun. I mean, I sat on the sideline with Tiffany Stoner at our daughter's volleyball games, for 2 years. And we never talk politics. You can't look at each other when you're talking at a volleyball game. Otherwise you get smoked in the head with a volleyball.
Man. I used to play, so I know.
You can have conversation, but you can't get too deep. That was all interesting, but it was like, I got to get my game on. And then I went down and I met, and see, I think this is something different we do, or maybe it's something I do, but I was like, I want to know what my surrounding fellow candidates are doing. And so I went down and I heard Michelle Higgs was talking down in Mooresville.
Yeah.
And, down in Martinsville for Morgan County. And I went and met her and got to know her that night. And that didn't lead, but she ended up taking off with the rural summit. And what a benefit that's been to the rural candidates around Indiana, especially Southern Indiana. Again, she got that first cycle of rural summit out 2 years ago. And now we're seeing the benefits of that, where we were 14 in 24, and now I've lost count. I think we're like 40 or more in 26. And all it is a group of us that talk together and learn from each other and kind of like campaign or move together just to save on resources and ideas. And
I love that.
our ideas kind of mold to our specific communities, but in general, we share a lot of the same problems, and we would be separated by great distances. Whether it's Elkhart County to Johnson County, or Johnson County to Harrison County down in southern Indiana. So, I got to meet people, and it's the people. I mean, listening to Gabrianna's story, it's something I learned early on. I was like, I just love all the different people in the House of Representatives. You kind of have this idea that it's all lawyers, and maybe it is. I don't know everyone's story that's currently sitting there, but I love that a representative government, and I hope voters listen and look out there and find different people that reflect their community and get them into office, because that's how we all benefit. I don't care about winning. I just want our communities to be better off. And if I push my Republican counterpart, to implement my plans, that's fine, because that's going to help the community. I want to help the community. Letting them run unopposed, that's not helping our community. That's where in this they kind of get the idea that nobody's going to stop them and they're just going to steamroll everybody, and we can't let that happen.
So let me ask you something. Oh my gosh, you hit on so many really good points right there. And we just are coming off the heels of, Black History Month, Women's History Month. We had Trans Day of Visibility the other day. And we are seeing this movement on the other side of the aisle to remove anything that's not white, male, straight, blah, blah, blah. I have to ask you, does your identity make it easier for you to say, okay, I may not win, but I'm going to push the needle? Because I don't want you to think I'm asking this in derogatory terms, but you're being very honest in saying that I don't know if I'm going to win, but I'm going to try to work my behind off to push the needle. Is that something where you're like, if people see me out here advocating for democratic principles, democratic values, you never know, maybe we can really get some things done? I mean, I just feel like I've not heard too many, I ain't gonna lie, I'm just gonna say it. I ain't really heard too many white dudes be sacrificial lambs. And I'm loving it. I ain't gonna lie to you. Like,
I'm a middle child, Dana. That's what we are. It's like you just kind of mold as that middle child to where you're keeping everybody happy as best you can. No, I realize I'm an old white man, and hopefully that turns ears towards me. Somehow through relationships and proximity to other people, I have figured out, well, and really through my studies, being a geologist, you kind of get into that evolution argument, and humans are humans. All humans are humans, and that's all that really matters to me. And I also have looked into the science of genetics and whatnot, and it is not male and female. It's not black and white. Period. It's not black and white. And when they'll say it's black and white, that's the science. Like, you obviously don't know the science.
Okay.
For anyone out there, there is a come on, get in my head.
See, that's what happens when we get over 50. We know a lot of things, but we also forget a lot of things.
Yeah, no kidding. But there is a podcast, and the title of the series, I think it was a 5-part series, and it was called Gonads, and it goes through the whole, how egg and sperm are fertilized, and genetic code starts swirling in there and builds out, and everybody starts out as a female, and then you have to have this protein hit at the right time to turn you into a male. They go through that whole thing, and it's oh my gosh, I'll get to it. I can't believe I'm forgetting the name. It's one of the most popular early podcasts.
But But isn't that interesting? The half of the humanity, and I won't even say half, but we're gonna say half. But half of the humanity is a mutation, and they want to act like they are the superior ones. The way you just explained it to me, that's how I received it. It's like you just said the protein has to hit at a certain time because we all start off as females, and if that protein, that's the mutation. I watch too much Marvel and X-Men. That's where that came from. That's where that came from.
So I put that all into my worldview, and just again, it's kind of a stereotype. But my brother is involved in the marching arts or pageantry arts, marching band for lack of a term. He was in it. I was in band, and then that's his career. Is he writes shows for marching bands from drum corps down to middle school.
But Gabrianna, do you see what I'm feeling with Michael? I mean, I'm not just crazy, am I? Like,
it's so funny that when you started to ask, I just had to laugh because all I heard in the story of the lead up was strong woman after strong woman after strong woman, and like just as inspirations for why he's here.
Yeah.
And
I haven't even talked about the strong women in my life. Other than my wife.
You brought up one, not even
my wife and my mom, right? But almost every one of my supervisors or bosses in my work life have been women.
Wow. And and I'm gonna tell you something. I'm about to pour into you just a little bit, Michael. I knew you was cool. Like I knew you was a different kind of fella because your woman taller than you.
Yeah.
I know the type. My woman taller than me.
Yeah.
It's when you're masculine of center, and in your case, a whole man, your confidence has to be something a little different to be like, oh, I'm not feeling less of a man because my woman taller than me. Bro, I've spent so much time out here with straight men who, want to test my manhood, and I have to remind them that I'm not a man. I just look as good as one. It's not my fault. But I can always tell when a gentleman is questioning the level of testosterone they have in their body by how they present themselves. And you have never, ever presented yourself like it, and I don't want to call it toxic masculinity because I think that's a generic term, but dudes that feel like they have to overly express how manly they are. This is me, the chick coming off of Women's History Month, tipping a hat, because you the type of guy we need in the party. You the type of white guy we need. We need to be able to send you places that Gabrianna and I can't go because they're not going to hear us. We're not going to be heard. And so whenever I hear, straight white dudes who are in our party questioning whether or not the party needs them or questions whether or not there's a place for them. Well, first of all, look at the numbers. The numbers say that white men are leading in elected officials in our party and in party leadership. So stop acting like we don't like you. You already leading the party.
Yeah, no kidding.
Right? But
what a bunch of babies we are, aren't we?
Well, I don't know about that. Some of y'all not. Like I said, the fact when I saw that your wife was taller than you, I was like, okay, he gonna be. I'm gonna be able to rock with him because You ain't got no complexes about nothing. You out here, so thank you. That's just me loving on you and pouring onto you for a minute. I'm sorry. Back to the campaigns, y'all. If y'all like this conversation, and I obviously am because I have totally deviated from the way my show normally goes. But donate to these candidates. Like I'm loving this conversation. Click the donate links. And donate to these candidates. Either, you give $5, $10, whatever you can, or become a recurring donor, right? Become a $5, a $10 recurring donor. I know that times are hard. I get it. Trust, know, and believe. We just got to talk about gas prices and energy prices going up. But it also takes money to run campaigns. And if you can't donate to the campaign, figure out how you can volunteer for these candidates. So, y'all realize it's like 7:16 and I probably can still talk to y'all for like another half hour, 45 minutes, because this has been fun. You got interesting stories. Like, Gabrianna, I got so many questions about the homeschooling thing, so many questions and how you survived that. And Michael, I want you to finish with what are your 3 items that you're running on so people know why you're running for office.
Yeah, so there is an undertone of environmental under everything I do. It's just the lens that I look through. And it doesn't have to be a hang up. It doesn't have to be expensive. It just is a thought, is a way of thinking of we've got to take care of our environment. The very first thing in every development, every dollar we spend, we need to be protecting that. So that's not even, it's not even really a platform item. I just like to let people know that that's the lens I'm coming through. Okay. And then I'll follow that up with affordability. We have to figure out how to get prices reined in. We kind of let them escape during COVID, and it just it's not coming down. And then now we're in a war. Right?
Yeah.
What the heck? So affordability, healthcare. I'm with Gabrianna. Tying healthcare to work. You know, again, you don't realize it. You think like that's what we grew up with. That's kind of what our parents did. And then you go into the workforce and that's what they give you. And then you realize like, well, if you lose your job, I've been laid off. I've been fired. I've left jobs. I'm actually jobless right at this moment. But I didn't really have insurance. And that's a long story with my previous employer. So maybe getting laid off was a good thing because now I'll go to another company where I might get.
Exactly.
But again, why am I negotiating healthcare with my job? Like, and why does that employer even buy into that model? Like, it is wild. So, you know, we got to figure out healthcare. I was very excited with the Affordable Care Act. That, you know, this is again outside of the platform. So healthcare and public education, and maybe I'll get there on the public education, but it's putting our money into the public education. If you want private education, if you want homeschooling, fine. I'd even consider pulling that little bit of money that you put into that goes to education from your taxes. You can pull that out. You don't get the whole voucher. You can maybe hold back that $8 or whatever that's from your taxes that are going to into education. And but governance, we have to elect officials that are actually going to govern and not just stand on their pedestal and throw out ideas and then just leave it and not follow through. Whether it's working with our law enforcement agencies to enforce laws. I'm in a little stink online with my local community about golf carts being on our walking trails, right? And they're all over me. I'm like, the law is inputted by a Republican town council, 5 of 5, all Republicans. They put the code in, no golf carts on the walking trails, period. And everyone's coming after me like I wrote the law. I was like, that's just the law. And my 5-year-old was chicken face to face with a golf cart the other day.
Oh no.
No, it really wasn't. Like, and they pulled over. I even put it in there. Like, they pulled over, they let us pass, but they shouldn't have been there in the first place.
Exactly.
You know, I was whatever 15 yards behind her and she's on her little scooter out in front of me. And you see the thing come around the corner, you get that, you know, your heart's, oh no, what's coming? But they pulled over. That's fine, but they shouldn't have been there in the first place. And they're blaming me on the law. So our town council needs to work with our police force to govern the codes that they're writing. And they don't do that. I feel like most of our legislature is more concerned, and this is really national and local, more concerned with winning elections than actually governing.
Ooh, and see, both you and Gabrianna basically said the same thing. You know, you want to see people that are in that state house actually governing. I mean, that's, again, I literally just send out invitations, and whoever answers, you get on the next day, and you guys are so aligned. I can just see now you guys collaborating on opportunities. One in the Senate, you know, how you do the buddy bills, or you sign off on my bill. Yeah. So make sure that you guys stay connected, because there's a synergy about the way you guys or why you guys are running. And that is the fact that you recognize that people are not doing their jobs. They really aren't. They're allowing lobbyists and a whole bunch of other people to write their legislation. So there's some synergy there. Gabrianna, tell the people where they can find you.
You can find me on Facebook, Gabrianna Gratzol for Senate District 11. I have a website by the same name. It's also linked on Facebook. Perks of having a really unique name is if you just search my name, you will find me.
Baby.
I am so Googleable. So, yep, you can get a hold of me. My contact information is probably too public. And I do respond. It might take a day or two sometimes, but I do. I read all my stuff. And I am very eager to hear what other people have to say, and get input. At the end of the day, our legislators are built up mainly of people who employ other people. I want to bring the perspective of an employee. I just want to keep our kids well fed, well read, with a roof over their head, and I want to hear about other people's experiences to best do that. So
I love it. And do you have any volunteer opportunities coming up? I mean, we're damn near close to GOTV, so I know you got some door knocking going on, right?
Oh yeah. So super exciting opportunity. I actually have a concert coming up. Okay. It is gonna be with the band Overgrowth. They're a local band. They are really fun. And then it's gonna be at the Well in South Bend. All ages are welcome. There's information about it on my Facebook, on my website. Reach out to me if you are in the area. Even if you're a little outside, it will be worth the drive. So, yeah.
I'm sad that this year I will not make it to Dingus Day.
Yeah. It's actually Dingus Day is the deadline for primary voter registration, and also my birthday. Oh. So all I've asked for people for my birthday is to check your registration, make sure it's active. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to Dingus Day.
I'm sick about it because it's not a long drive, but it ends up being a long day because you start off super early in the morning to get there at the 9 o'clock breakfast, right? And I'm 2 hours away up 31. But I have to go down to New Orleans on Tuesday, and so my flight's early, so I'm like, I'm gonna have to forego. I want you to know I'm sick about it. I love Dingus Day. I love Dingus Day, and I gotta tell Ariel Branding I'm not coming because the barbecue is what you wait for. You don't even eat all day; you go get the barbecue. Michael, tell the people where they can find you.
All right. Before I do that, I looked it up. It's Radio Lab. Is the podcast. Lab. Okay. Good old Radio Lab. The episodes, 5-part series, Gonads. Incredible.
Okay. I'm going to type it up. I'm getting ready to put it in the chat.
Yeah. And so you can find me at Friends of Michael Potter, kind of everywhere. All my social media is Friends of Michael Potter, Friends of Michael Potter at gmail.com to reach out to me. And, yeah, I'm always looking for volunteers. I'm really focused on, we have an event coming up on April 25th in our White River 9 precinct. Blythe and I are precinct chair and vice chair. And so we're hosting, really looking for our primary folks. I don't have a primary. My wife doesn't have a primary. She has a convention event. So we're going to be, hyping ourselves, but also hyping our congressional candidates and getting out the vote in the primary, because I think Democrats can really make some noise by just turning out in the primary and just showing up and showing, hey, we're here, guys, we're coming for you. We probably won't match their numbers in Indiana.
You never typical. Know. I'm telling you.
You never know. But, and I think we can win. I definitely think we can win come November. I'm not worried about that.
Because you know what? Americans, I'm talking about them. Americans, they are indignant about being an American. Mm-hmm. And right now, everything is going through the roof. They were told things would not happen. We're not going to have any forever wars. I'm going to bring all the prices down because I'm the greatest president of all time. And everything that he said, he's doing the exact opposite. And there's some people waking up from the cult phase they're starting to think for them. They're like, wait a minute now. Wait a minute. I voted for this clown 3 times and this is what you're doing. So I think this is the year. That's why I'm so glad that there's so many, that every state Senate seat has got a candidate in it. I'm excited about that. I'm excited that we have like 92 or 93 of the House seats that have candidates in it, because this might be that year. We have to deliver, right? We can't just win the election and be excited that we won. That's what happened in 2008. We got all super happy that we got a black man in the White House, and then Republicans ran roughshod over every state house in the country, right? So yeah. I think, brother, this is the year. So don't think about whether or not, stop saying that you can't win. Say we are going to win. You claim it. Put that positive energy out in the universe, okay?
I want to get the numbers up for the primary.
Like, yeah, you're going to get the numbers up.
Get people hyped for the primary, not just the general.
I know it.
We got primary. We have some tremendous candidates in the primary in Johnson County, District 6. And so I want to get people hyped and get out.
The turnout. I think you're going to accomplish it. I think you are, and that's the point that I'm making. I guess I kind of deviated a little bit, but
it's April 25th in Bargersville Town Center, government community center.
Okay.
Bargersville Community Center. Sorry, folks.
That's all right. You know what? That's the joy of being an authentic type of human. You're not scripted. You don't have people, neither one of y'all have like somebody that's out here writing your speeches and spending 14 hours getting you prepped for a podcast interview.
Yeah.
You just showing up being yourselves. I'm just me, right? And I love that. When people, be trying to hype me up or whatever, I'm like, I'm just a chick with a big mouth. That's it. That's it. Y'all, thank you so much for joining me on Turn Left. We could talk all night, the three of us.
All night.
I mean, this was so easy. It was so easy. Y'all, running in District 11, Miss Gabrianna, and I messed it up again. I got to go find it. Okay. Gabrianna Gratzol Hartman in Senate District 11, and Michael Parter, who's running in House District 47. Find these candidates, support these candidates, and figure out a way how you can get involved, all right? Get involved. Guys, listen, we talking about it. Early voting starts the 7th, which means you have until April 6th to check and make sure you are registered to vote. Do not play. Do not play with this one. Do not play. We got great candidates up and down the ballot. There's somebody that's speaking to you and your values. Go support them. Go knock doors for them. Go bake cookies and hand them out to the volunteers. Do something. I know everybody ain't got money. I know that. But everybody got a little bit of time. You got one Saturday a month between now and election day. And if you can't do it during the primary, because if you like me, you don't like being out in the cold, I get it. But they're going to be door knocking in the summer. They're going to be phone banking. They're going to be doing all of these things. So don't just sit back and let policies happen to you. You happen to policies and help influence how these policies are impacting your lives. Thank you so much for joining us tonight on Turn Left. I'm Indiana's own Dana Black. I will holler at y'all next time. Peace. Turn Left is the property of Black Pearl IT Solutions, executive producer Indiana's own Dana Black. Music by Dorianin 22 from Pixabay.